Out front now, Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff. He's on the House Select Committee investigating January 6th. He's also the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, Chairman, thank you for coming on. I want to get your reaction first to this new reporting from Evan Perez about how far Jeffrey Clark, that justice official, went to try and help Donald Trump push this massive election lie, even going to these specialized Chinese thermometers.
It is really staggering to see how close they came to subverting our elections, our democracy, and Clark in particular. If what's reported is correct, he was not only proposing that they write top justice officials, including the acting attorney general, write to Georgia Georgia legislature, and urge them to come back in a special session to discuss whether they should appoint a alternate set of electors, and that there may have been 5 other letters to go out to 5 other states. And when you consider that he might have been appointed by Trump as Attorney General, he might have replaced Rosen, those letters would have gone out. And who knows what those state legislators might have done as a result.
Add all that together, does Jeffrey Clark need to come testify before your committee, before the Select Committee?
Well, I think he's going to be a very important witness, and I don't want to speak for the chairman. We'll make those decisions together as a committee. But I think we need to view January 6th in the right context, which is there were efforts before the election to subvert the election by pushing out false claims of fraud. There were obviously efforts after the election to try to overturn the results, with the president intervening with state legislators, with local electors, local board members who would vote whether to certify their elections. And then you have what was going on at the Justice Department, again, at the president's instigation. All of this is important in terms of what led us to January 6th and where we go forward as a nation.
Well, and in the immediate going forward, we're hearing more about a former Trump campaign official who's been talking up another protest at the Capitol planned for next month. This one in support of the alleged rioters, the people who are charged with crimes for the insurrection, who are still behind bars. I want to play for you some of what he told Steve Bannon.
And I think that as we continue to raise the profile of these individuals, it makes it harder and harder for the left's phony narrative about an insurrection to stick. We have our next rally planned. It's in the middle of September, September 18th, and it's going to be huge. And what's going to define it is where it's going to take place. We're going back to the Capitol, right where it started. We're going to continue to raise the volume and push back against this phony narrative and demand justice for these political prisoners.
What is your reaction to hearing that?
Well, I have a few reactions. First of all, this is very much in character for Steve Bannon and people that he associates with. Bannon, after all, famously said that what they needed to do was flood the zone with excrement, except he used a different word, as a way of confusing the public. And this is exactly what's going on here in this effort to rewrite history, to pretend that the insurrection didn't happen, that it was a love fest between these people that gathered on January 6th and the police. But it's important to realize that that voice we just heard is not acting on its own. On the very day that we had those 4 police officers before our committee testifying in heartbreaking fashion about the trauma they endured, that same day you had Republican members of Congress at the Justice Department, out in front of the Justice Department, making a similar argument that these insurrectionists, these domestic terrorists, were somehow political prisoners and the Justice Department should go easy on them. So it's the alternate world that the former president would like people to live in, and one completely at odds with the reality, and one that's a continuing danger to the country.
Yeah, dismissing it isn't going to make it go away. We know that now very distinctly from January 6th, of course. Before you go, Mr. Chairman, I'm seeing a report that the Select Committee has added former Republican Congressman Denver Riggleman as an advisor, or someone who's familiar to folks who watch the show and watch CNN. Can you confirm that?
I can't confirm anything about the staff. The committee will make its announcements in terms of any staffing that we bring on when the chairman decides. So I can't comment on that one way or another.
One thing we do know is that Denver Riggleman, he has spoken up very strongly about misinformation and the toxic nature of what it can do and has done leading up to, before, and after January 6th. So his opinion would be very interesting for the committee to have as some advice. Mr. Chairman, thank you for your time.
Thank you.